Right, let's see if we can find somewhere pretty to answer a few questions. I mean, it's rural France. It's not exactly hard to find somewhere pretty. So, you know. Anyway, let's have a look at it. This picnic table's really high. I'm sitting on it and my legs are still swinging off the ground. So I don't know who built it, but God help anyone under 5 foot tall who wants to use it. Right. How did you get to know and work with Dan? Well, it's not that complicated really. I first met Dan when I moved to France, and he helped me do some fencing around my house, and then we kept in touch, and after that he asked me to come and help him up in Lalande for a while, so I did some work with him up there, and we just kept in touch. And then this year he asked me to come and help him fix up an old chateau. Is your home in France completely renovated, or do you still have projects to accomplish on it? I'd say there isn't a person in France who has a home that's completely renovated. My house is pretty much done. I do have to do another little bit of work on a bathroom. I have a bathroom upstairs, but I want to put another bathroom in downstairs as kind of like a wet room. So when I come in manky and covered in grime, I can hop in the shower and not manky up the whole house. And it would be nice to have another bathroom in the house for when I have guests staying and visiting. So no, the house is not finished yet. If you and Dan had a cooking contest, who would win? Dan would win hands down. Hands down. He once made a lasagna on a barbecue and it tasted good. Is your hat an heirloom from your grandmother? I won't hear a bad word said about that hat. I got that hat in Action, which is like a Poundland kind of pound shoppy place over here. And I just wanted a big wide brimmed hat to keep the sun off, and it's fantastic. It might be a woman's hat, I don't know. It just works for me, and that's all I know. Brian, out of you, Nick and Dan, who speaks French the best? I'd say probably Dan is a bit better than me, and me and Nick are about the same. Do you believe in fairies? And if so, have you warned Nick about cutting down the hawthorn trees? We actually had a conversation about this the other week, and I was telling them about fairy forts and fairy rings that are all over Ireland. I wouldn't say I believe in fairies, but I have a healthy respect for the fairies, and you just don't go messing with them, just in case. Which project are you currently a bit ashamed of? This actually got me thinking of failure. I saw this question pop up and it got me thinking about all the times I've failed, which has been a lot. And it used to really get me down because I used to get frustrated with it, you know, whatever I was trying and it wasn't working. I used to get quite frustrated, and I'd realised that unless you fail at stuff, you'll never be able to succeed at stuff. I know that sounds weird. So what I do now, if I'm getting hung up on a problem, I tend to kind of put everything down and walk away for a few minutes or a few hours or a few days and try and come back with a fresh perspective to crack on and get the problem solved. And that usually works for me. If it's not working, just take a break, come back to it a little later on. Do you speak French with an Irish accent? I probably do. The thing about speaking French is, like, wherever you're from, you'll know that people from different areas have different accents. So in France it's the same. So up in Paris they speak a different type of French. Down in Nice they speak a different type of French and a different type of accent. Around here there's a local patois. So some of the words that you hear aren't even French, they're local dialect. So yeah, I probably do speak French with an Irish accent. But you know, I speak Irish with an Irish accent as well. So a Dublin question. Dublin Coddle or full Irish? I'm going to have to go with full Irish on this one. I don't know if you know what Dublin Coddle is, but if you want to go and Google it, do that and see how horrified you become. I did explain it to Dan and Nick over lunch a while ago, and they just got more and more confused as I listed out how to make it and what the ingredients were. It's a very unique dish. Gaelic football or hurling? I'd have to go with hurling. A fastest land sport in the world. Is France your permanent home? Yes. What does Nick smell like? That is a bit weird. He smells like magic, freshly cut sawdust, and two-stroke petrol mix. How old are you? I'm under 50 and over 40. How long did it take you to understand Nick? Changes from day to day. What is your favourite biscuit? You know, I am quite partial to a chocolate chip cookie, but like a good one. You know, you can get kind of big ones over here. They're the size of saucers. They're really nice. Are you full Irish? Yes, I'm full Irish. I'm from Dublin. Do you feel alone when you're alone? No, not at all. I really like my own company. I mean, I do have a lot of friends that I hang out with, but not all the time. But I really like my own company. What are you on the scale of weirdness, with 10 being the weirdest? That's a very hard question to answer. It's kind of a question only someone else can answer about you. I'm going to say 4.5. What's your favourite chainsaw? I have a Stihl 210T, and it's a really good little saw. It's the one that Nick fine-tuned for me. He doesn't have one and he really wants one. Ha ha ha. What's your favourite pair of socks? I actually bought really nice socks a few weeks ago. They're blue with a little bit of orange in them, and they're really nice to wear under work, you know, with work boots. I can't for the life of me remember where I got them, and I'm terrified of losing one because I don't know how to replace them. If wishes were fishes, how many nails would it take? And you think I'm weird? 7. Do you have all your toes? Not on me right now, but I have them all somewhere. Why do you go camping so much? I mean, look at the place. I went camping this week because on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it was so super hot, and I ended up spending most of the day indoors hiding from the heat. And then once it cooled down, kind of Wednesday afternoon, I thought, oh yeah, okay, I'm gonna do some jobs, and then I'm gonna go biking and do a bit of camping because I like exploring around the place and seeing new places. What county are you from? I'm from Dublin. The same county as Colin Farrell. How did you end up in France? Well, I got the ferry from Rosslare and landed in Cherbourg. 14 hours. How do you feel about your sudden YouTube fame? Well, first of all, I wouldn't call it fame. I am a bit overwhelmed with the whole thing, if I'm honest. It's been very strange to see so many people watching the videos. I'm immensely grateful, and I mean, it's a very humbling thing, all the nice comments and just so many people taking the time to be bothered about what I get up to. But it is odd. I like it so far. I mean, I've always kind of done little videos like diaries. I used to keep diaries when I was younger, but I don't know, my handwriting's pretty bad and I just haven't had the time to write so much lately. But the videos are good because it feels like I'm just talking to another person and having a chat with someone else about what I got up to. But yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. I wouldn't call it fame though, that's a bit much. What type of YouTube shows do you like to watch? There's a really good one by a guy called Colin Furze. He's an engineer in England, and he makes loads of cool stuff. At the moment he's got an underground bunker in his back garden, and he's building a tunnel from that under his house to his front garden, where he's making an underground garage where his car will rise up out of. I think that's really cool. And then there's another one called, I think it's just called Mav, and he's a guy in the States, and he does a lot of car camping, and he has a couple of weird little vehicles, and I always enjoy watching his videos. Were you an actor in Ireland? No, I was not an actor in Ireland. Have you ever been to Iceland? No. You mean the country or the supermarket in England where you can buy frozen pizzas? Because I have been there, but not the country. Do you ever skinny dip? Maybe. What's your favorite French pastry? They do one, I don't know if they do it all over France, but they do one around here called a Suisse, and it's like a long pastry filled with like a custardy type cream and little bits of chocolate, and that's really good with a cup of coffee. Can you do a handstand? Yes, I used to be able to do a handstand. I'm pretty sure I could probably still do a handstand. If I could get down off this table, I'd show you, but I'm about 7 foot off the ground. How could you leave Dublin Guinness for French wine? That's one of the things I miss the most. You cannot get a good pint of Guinness outside of Ireland, and I have tried all over the world. There's nothing like a pint of Dublin Guinness. One of the best places in Dublin to have Guinness is Heuston train station. Do you shower daily? Yeah, of course. I mean, what? Are you and Dan related? Have you heard Dan? No, we're not related. He's English and I'm Irish, but I don't hold that against him. Have you ever been to New Zealand? Yes, I have been to New Zealand. I travelled all over the South Island and it was one of the most beautiful places I've ever been to. Tomato or brown sauce? That's a tough one. I'll probably have to go with a little bit of tomato sauce on chips and maybe some brown sauce on a bacon butty. Can you dance? Yeah, I can dance. You don't sound like an Irishman. Are you sure you're Irish? I'm pretty sure I'm Irish. We don't all sound the same, and I've spent a lot of my life in different parts of the world, so I probably have a bit of a Dublin pan-global accent. Do you believe in Bigfoot? I have seen no evidence to the contrary. I haven't actually seen Bigfoot, but I'm willing to hear a compelling case. I was in the Himalayas a few years ago and I did see the part of the skull of a Yeti in a Buddhist monastery, and it looked a bit like a coconut. What's your favourite cheese? There's that one called Saint Nectaire, that's really nice, and then there's another one called Roblejean. And a few years ago I went down to, a few of us went down to meet a friend of ours who lives down south, and he kind of comes to the region where they make that, and he brought us on a tour of one of the little places where they make the cheese, and oh my god, it's beautiful. I think we had a fondue with that cheese, which is the first and only time I've ever eaten fondue, you know, where you stick the things in the melted cheese. Do you drink Barry's tea? For those of you who don't know, Barry's tea, there's like Lyon's tea and Barry's tea in Ireland. I drink Barry's tea, but I haven't had a cup of Barry's tea in quite a while now, because I mostly drink coffee. But when I go back to Ireland to visit my parents, yeah, I always have some Barry's tea. Will Dan name a room at the Chateau after you? Yes, I think he's naming the East Wing after me, and he's naming the West Wing after Nick. Anyway, thank you for all the questions. I hope that was interesting to you. Some of them are a bit weirder than others. It's a lovely day here, so I'm going to go find somewhere to have a spot of lunch, and then I should probably crack on with a few jobs when I get home. The vlog will be out tomorrow, so yeah, tune in and see that, and I'll see you next time.